The supermarket that I chose to visit was the Metro on 89 Gold Street on Ryerson campus. Metro is one of the big three supermarkets. I chose this supermarket because this is where I normally shop at, as my condo is above the store, so it is convenient for me. This grocery store also has 10% off produce for students on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and also allows people to collect air miles. I chose the produce aisle for my investigation of the supermarket. I chose this section because it is supposedly the freshest produce in the supermarket. This is because basically everyone eats fruits and vegetables to some degree. These items are normally at the front of the supermarket and visible to all customers. The first thing I noticed when I walked into the grocery store was that the produce was being picked up and put back. For example, people were looking for at the apples for the one with the best texture, shape, size, and that they desire. If they picked one up and it's not good enough or not what they were looking for, they put it back and pick up another one and continue the process until they found what they want or didn't buy any at all. This shows that people don't know or think about how many hands have been on the products before they buy them. I have shopped at the Metro over 100 times in my 5 years at Ryerson and never noticed how tampered with these items are because they look fresh and clean. Also observing the produce, I noticed that there were different colors around the store, with it being very organized with the products. One thing relating to that I noticed was that there were some of the same items in different places. For example, there were blueberries right when you first walked into the store that were stocked up, but there were also blueberries on the side shelves that had lack of product on them. I also noticed that when I attended the Metro, there were lots of open spaces and lack of produce. As we learned in lecture, supermarkets place product in mounds. If there's less of the item, people believe those ones are bad and probably will not buy them. Another area that I noticed was that the section is known for healthy. Metro is now incorporating the unhealthy products into the side shelves at the beginning, including salad dressings beside the pre-made salads and also cream cheese dip near the pre-cut fruits. Within these products, there are many pesticides that are used on fruits and vegetables. The most bought are normally the most contaminated. For example, the three most contaminated are peaches, apples, and sweet bell peppers. Apples are one of the most contaminated. They use numerous pesticides and wax polish them to give it their shine. The better the product looks, the more contaminated they probably are. Pesticides have long-term effects on a person's immune system. The pesticides have an even larger impact on children because their bodies are still growing. Pesticides cause acute and chronic illnesses to humans, including neurological problems, fertility, and reproductive problems, brain and lung cancer, and immune system suppression. Pesticides also kill insects and soil microorganisms, including those that are beneficial to the environment. As well, they poison birds. In addition to pesticides, they also pollute the air, the soil, surface water, and groundwater. Organic items, for the most part, are separated from the non-organic items. But there were a few in the Metro that were together. For example, the lettuce that was in the bags on the side shelf were the ones that were organic. This was trying to keep them from getting pesticides on them. Organic items have to have at least 95% organic content to be advertised as organic items. Products with less than 95% organic content, but over 70% organic content, must indicate the percentage of the ingredients that are organic. Food miles is the distance a product travels from the producer to the consumer. The average travel distance for a meal is 2,400 kilometers from the field to the table. The gas that it takes to move those products from one area to another is something people don't think about the environmental impact when purchasing their food. Something I noticed was that many of the items were not from Canada itself. Many were from other places, mainly what I noticed in the Metro were Mexico and the United States. I also noticed that in the side corner, which is not visible to many customers that aren't looking for it, was packaged apples from Foodland, Ontario. These were put off to the side, while others from different countries were placed right in the middle where people could find them. But the Ontario food was not. Another area that I looked into was packaging. There were many different types of packaging. People can package their own bags, have pre-packaged bags, netted bags, bands, plastic containers with or without holes, plastic wrapping with foam on the bottom, or just plastic wrapping itself. For example, a cucumber that was wrapped in plastic. This is something that people don't think about when they buy their products, with the environmental impact of this packaging. I just have two questions, just to review some of the material that I talked about earlier. What is the average travel distance a meal travels from field to table? A. 1,500 kilometers. B. 500 kilometers. C. 5,000 kilometers. And D. 2,400 kilometers. If you guessed D, you are correct. The average distance food travels to get from the field to the table is 2,400 kilometers. What are the three top contaminated foods? A. Oranges, bananas, and peaches. B. Apples, bell peppers, peaches. C. Avocado, peaches, apples. D. Peaches, broccoli, and lettuce. The answer is B. The most contaminated in this order are peaches, apples, and bell peppers. As stated by the supermarket tour reading, it stated that by the time an ordinary apple reaches the fresh produce shelf, it has been bathed in chlorine, scrubbed with detergent, and polished with wax. Some alternatives that I looked into the supermarket are buying local or growing my own produce, also peeling the fruits and vegetables. After reading the supermarket tour and attending the supermarket, I first thought maybe buying organic was my best option. But then I realized that with my budget, I would not be able to afford that. I then realized my next best option was to buy local because the pesticides that are banned in Canada have never been sprayed on the produce that I purchase. They also use less preserving agents because they don't have to travel so far to consumers. This is important to me because eating healthy with less health-affecting pesticides is important. I also would enjoy creating a garden, but right now while living in a condo in Toronto, I do not have the ability to go that option. Also, when I buy produce that may or may not be local, I need to make sure I wash all of those items I buy thoroughly to reduce the amount of pesticides I ingest. Also, by peeling these items, what I can do is reduce the extra chemicals that is on the outside of these items. Thank you for listening to my supermarket tour, and I hope you learned something.